welcome to a new segment of Knicks Bros TV here on Knicks Couch Report. I'll be honest with you, it's not that I'm being lazy. Usually I do an intro for the videos, but I really want to get my thoughts out there post draft after I got 48 to 72 hours to kind of sit back and think about it. And on the other hand, it does take a while to upload videos if you're not doing them through Google Hangout. So first of all, I would like to go ahead and thank all my viewers and subscribers. You guys have been great. It's about to be 1 year for Knicks Bros TV. My brother and I have had a blast doing this. Next week, Idiot Sport Talk and I will get together and talk New York Jets football. Really awesome guy. A guy that's been doing this way before I started doing this. He's a huge New York Jets fan, so I'm really looking forward to doing that. So let's kind of get really into it. The New York Knicks drafted Porzingis from Latvia. We had the 4th round pick in the NBA draft, and that's the individual we went with. Let me give you a little bit on Porzingis right now. He is 7'1". He puts on those sneakers. He's going to be 7'2", 220 pounds. He's from Latvia. He played for Seville, Spain. He's your typical European player when they start off. I mean, he's very skinny. A lot of the European players are that way. Nowinski from Dallas was like that when he started, and he's being really compared to a lot of those players. And if you guys watched our live segment of the NBA draft, my brother was for signing Porzingis or drafting Porzingis. I didn't want that to happen. And again, this just comes from years and years of, seeing European players not succeed in the NBA. Like a Bargnani. On top of my head, I can't come up with any of them. But European players overall haven't been very successful in the NBA. So that's where Porzingis ended up getting a lot of backlash from the New York fans. I honestly felt sorry for him just because, it's not really him. It's just, the platform that has been set by other European players that got the Knicks fans to react the way they did. And I was one of them. But, having 48 hours instead of 72 hours to sit back and kind of think about it, I felt like it was a decision that the Knicks had to make based on, their draft. I mean, they had the 4th pick. The top 3 players were Russell, Okafor, and Towns. Those are your, I want to say, ready to play athletes, ready to make a difference in a team players. And anyone after that is going to be a 2 to 3 year project. So the fact that, us picking Porzingis and calling it a bust or calling it, we can't wait for this, we can't wait for the players to develop. Well, that's what the draft is about. And if you didn't have the opportunity to be 1st, 2nd, or 3rd pick, you are going to have the same backlash, whether if we drafted Porzingis or Moutier. Now, maybe not as much as Moutier because he isn't a European player. But if you really think about it, Moutier is just as a mystery man as Porzingis is. Now that I sat back and thought about it, he's more of a mystery man than Porzingis is because he only played 12 games in China. Europe definitely being more competitive in the basketball world. Especially the Spanish league, like Real Madrid and Barcelona spend a lot of money in their basketball clubs. So the fact that Porzingis played in Seville, makes you want to kind of, look forward to him than you would a Moutier. Now, with that being said, I think a lot of the issue comes from just how young these players are coming to the league. It's not really Porzingis being 19. There was a lot of the guys that were 19 or 20 years old. I'm a firm believer in staying in college all 4 years and then come to the NBA. Because if you really think about it, the first 2 years, you're just a project. You're just, learning a lot of things you should have already try to learn in the NCAA. So technically, you're just getting paid your first 2 years. So again, the backlash, it's all these things that build up to us reacting the way we did with Porzingis. And again, I want to give Knicks fans credit. I mean, for the past 25 draft picks we've had as a New York Knicks franchise, only 2 have stayed more than 5 years with us, and one of them being the legendary Patrick Ewing. So that says a lot about why we react the way we do as Knicks fans, because we haven't been very keen on or draft picks. I do have a comment from the half of Knicks Bros TV. My brother says Porzingis has the highest ceiling of all the draft pick. The only question is if he can hit that ceiling. And yeah, and that's where the rebuilding process with the Knicks and him getting used to the triangle offense comes into play. And again, I do believe that the triangle offense had a little to do with us drafting Porzingis. Phil Jackson came out and stated that he had Carmelo Anthony in mind when he made that draft choice. So I do want to say I like the kid's attitude. I like the fact that he came out and stated, "Hey, guess what? I know that NBA is not very, and these players or fans are not looking forward to another European player getting drafted so high in the NBA draft because of the past players." So he's well aware of that. He's taken on the challenge. He's looking forward to. He basically stated, "Is the number one thing I'm looking forward to in the NBA is the fact that I got a key to the gym whenever I want to go." So that's the stuff that I want to be able to hear. One of the things that we've seen out of European players is they don't have the heart as some of the NCAA players have. And the fact that he stated that he just wants to go right to the gym and get started, that's great. I mean, this kid has a chip on his shoulder. I mean, this is the best case scenario for him. Against all odds, being able to, step up to, the challenge and be able to take on, the media. I think he's got a pretty tough skin to be able to survive in New York. And as far as, him and the minutes he should play next season, I think the best way, the honest truth, the best way for Porzingis to do good in or learn with the Knicks is we should play him as much as we can. That's just my opinion. This isn't like, football. It's not a quarterback situation where you're like, well, we want to build this confidence, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, sure, we do want to do all that. But at the same time, we want to treat him the same way Nowitzki was treated in Dallas, where he played almost every game and he had some embarrassing moments. And those things just become a challenging aspect for a guy like Porzingis. So let him play all the minutes as possible. Let him get as much as NBA time under his wing as much as possible. Let me clarify something with the New York Knicks real fast. But before I do that, I do have another comment from Big D. He stated, this kid played in arguably the second best basketball league in the world, and he was successful. Yes. After the NBA, I would consider the European League to be a much more dominant league compared to, let's just say, China. But I want to get into this topic real fast. Where are we in a rebuilding mode, or are we just trying to hurry up? In Carmelo Anthony's world, he's against time. He's 31 years old. He hasn't won a championship. He made all the sacrifices to get here. I don't know, $125 million of sacrifice to come here, and he's desperate to win a championship. And I think in his eye, he wants now, get all the players that are ready to play. But again, who in the draft after Okafor, Russell, and Towns is ready to make an impact in the NBA? No one. Everybody else needs at least a year or two to get something going. So that's that. Now, in the free agency, I'm looking for a David West or maybe a Greg Monroe to come in. I like West just because every successful team has to have a veteran. I think he's going to bring some leadership to the locker room. And Greg Monroe is just a young player that can help us be a much more physical and bigger team. So that's that. Now, as far as Phil is concerned, all the criticism he's getting, listen here. Phil is not looking out for Phil. If Phil looked out for Phil, Phil would not be part of the Knicks right now. Phil could have been somewhere in California enjoying his time and still have that legendary status and not be under this media criticism. He stepped in. To me, he's made a lot of good choices. I don't want to say all of them were good choices. He's basically building a platform for us as New York fans or New York supporters to be able to enjoy 6-7 years down the line, knowing that we'll still have a competing / successful team. I think the number one thing Phil did right off the bat, if you guys remember, we were known to be a very old team with the Rashad Wallaces, with Jason Kidd, with Stoudemire, all these players. And now we're arguably considered to be one of the youngest teams with Early, with Greek Freak moving up. Now having Porzingis. So we're a much more younger team that definitely has some sort of a foundation for us. So we all know Carmelo Anthony came out and he didn't actually come out and make those comments, but it just feels like the friends that he has picked over the years tend to always say smart things. Does he need to pick better friends? Yes. But his friends came out and said that he was dissatisfied with the pick. Again, with the 4th pick that we had, I felt like we made the best decision. That's just me. I didn't feel this way. I might sound like a hypocrite. Again, I didn't feel this way in my last video. I didn't. I reacted the same exact way Knicks fans reacted because I didn't know this guy. I didn't watch much of his highlights. He played in Europe. I went with the same stereotypical, oh my goodness, he's a European player, he's a bust type ideology. But now that I sit back and watch certain highlight films and watch the position that we're actually in the draft, I feel much better with our pick. And that's just exactly how I feel about it. And, if Carmelo Anthony truly meant what he said, he should have never signed a contract with us. He should have went to Chicago, because at the end of the day, Carmelo Anthony isn't a leader. Now, he's a great talent, and that's all he is to me. Right now, even with the Porzingis draft, one of the things that 2 things we still need to work on is defense and leadership. And that's where I felt like the move that we made for Grant to get another draft pick to save our point guard position was genius. The fact that we traded a Hardaway that wasn't really, we gave Hardaway opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. If any player, I felt like we gave him the opportunity he didn't flourish was Hardaway. I felt like we were a little quick with JR and Iman Shumpert, but we gave Hardaway all the opportunity he can get, and he never ever was able to take over. So I don't feel any type of guilt with getting rid of Hardaway. So with that being said, the fact that we were able to get Grant, which everyone is speaking so highly of, he's a point guard at a 19th pick from Notre Dame, a high IQ, a guy that the coach came out and stated that in about a year, he'll be the one teaching the triangle offense to the players. So all those things are very high momentum things that I'm looking forward to. Now, with that being said, again, I haven't seen the kid play in the NBA. None of us have because it's 4 or 5 months away. But I feel like that's a good situation to be in. Now, all we got to do is figure out how do we get Calderon off the books because we're definitely paying this guy, for nothing. So yeah, overall, I'm very satisfied, and I think the Grant move made the Porzingis draft pick. It made more sense to me. If we didn't make the Grant move and only got Porzingis, I would have. I think I would have still been in the same state of mind the day of the draft, and be in the same state of mind that I am now, where I'm okay with it. But with Grant, it's just like I feel much better in the position that we've put ourselves in. So, again, as far as Carmelo Anthony is concerned, I think he should be supportive because you don't want to create this type of turbulence in the locker room where free agents are not going to want to come because you got the superstar player, already feuding with the first draft pick, and it's just not going to be a pleasant place for free agents to come in and want to be able to win a championship. Again, the number one thing we're asking from Knicks fans is patience, and that's very difficult. And I don't blame any Knicks fans, including myself, for being frustrated because of all the bad moves we've made. But let me ask you this, quite honestly, let me ask you this. 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, when we got Carmelo Anthony, that was probably the best move we made, and we can all agree to that. But if we honestly didn't go with Phil Jackson and Derek Fisher, what would the Knicks be doing right now? We would probably get another coach. We would get another coach, and what would that coach do? What would that next GM do? What would that next president do? We would just trade our draft picks because we've been doing it for the past 20 years. The Knicks have been irrelevant to me, honestly, from 2000 till 2015, for the past 15 years, ever since the late 90s playoff runs. What would have came out of us not getting Phil and Derek Fisher? We would have been in the same situation. We would have had an aging team. We would have been a team with no direction, no draft picks, no, any type of future, to be quite honest. So at the end of it, when you think about it, I like the Phil move, and I still do. I feel like he's made, some really good decisions. And there's been some questionables. One where, now that I sit back and think about it, I'm like, did we really need to offer Carmelo Anthony that huge contract? Could we have went out there and really just went into rebuilding mode? But again, I'm a Carmelo fan. I got a Carmelo jersey. Carmelo's my guy. I just feel like he needs to be more supportive of Porzingis and the team itself. Now, as far as leadership is concerned, that's where I want to get some sort of a free agent veteran that's going to step in and bring some attitude and accountability to the team, because we definitely have a very young team. Again, my free agents that I'm looking forward to is the David West, is a Greg Monroe, is a Paul Millsap, but I'm kind of thinking about that. Carroll, I like him from Atlanta. Again, he brings that defense to the team. But again, it's none of these players are going to be, besides Greg Monroe, are going to change the team overall. I think it just really comes down to our first draft pick. It will come down to Grant because we're so weak in the point guard position. It's going to come down to Carmelo Anthony being able to be healthy and being able to be consistent game in, game out. So that's what it really, really, truly comes down to. I really want to hear from you guys, if anybody's watching, how you guys felt about the draft. Quite honestly, I don't think we're as an attractive team to be able to bring maybe Aldridge to the New York Knicks. That's just me being, I really don't think Aldridge is going to come to the Knicks. I think the Lakers are making a lot of moves. That's our biggest challenge this year is the Lakers. They definitely have the money. They definitely have a lot more. They're much more of an attractive team right now compared to us, just because of Russell, definitely aging Kobe Bryant. But Aldridge has, thought about the Lakers move. I believe Love is going to go back to Cleveland. That's the last update that I got on that. I believe he opted out of his contract. But no, I overall, again, I'm very satisfied with Porzingis. There were not too many point guards available in the draft. That's where I felt like the Grant move was huge for me. But I think the number one thing I want to say to Knicks fans is just chill out. It's going to be fine. I think, as a fan base, we need to support players much more than we are. But again, I totally understand the frustration. So yeah, it is what it is. Tell me what you think. I really wanted to make this video just to speak my mind on the situation. Again, I reacted the same exact way, Knicks fans did the day of the draft. So my brother left a comment saying Aldridge is going to the Spurs. He's very sold on Aldridge going to the Spurs. He's definitely wrong about Love going to the Lakers. He said that, I believe, last week, so I'm calling you out. I think Love is going to go back to Cleveland. But again, none of that is 100% sure. I think next season a lot is going to be on Derek Fisher's shoulders. He's really needed to kind of step in and get into this triangle offense and be able to teach it. Now, I don't know if that's the approach we'll be taking, but Phil Jackson seems very firm on the triangle offense. But that's all I got. That's all the topics that I got to talk about. Again, I want to thank all the subscribers and all the viewers. Next week or maybe this Friday, I'm not sure. Again, I'll get together with Idiot Sport Talk. He does a really good job of covering the New York Jets. So him and I are going to break down the New York Jets team and kind of get his perspective on the players, minicamp, free agency moves that we've made this season. So definitely tune into that. But overall, I want to appreciate everybody watching and commenting, subscribing. You guys have a wonderful day. Leave me all your post-draft thoughts and have a good one.